Northville Crossing versus Clarence Carmichael and Barbara Carmichael. Clarence, Barbara, Carmichael's, they're not here. If you'd like to take a default, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm? Testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. And again, for the record, Rachel Dornbush, Ballots Law, on behalf of the plaintiff. Your Honor, there's rent to our chain of $1,863.42. Costs of $250 for a total due of $2,113.42. And we'd ask for a default possession only judgment with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff, that is by default for possession, redemption amount, in the amount requested. Writ to issue in 10 days. James Ingram versus Jason Hopper. What? What did I say?
James versus James.
Okay, you're right. I said that, and I didn't mean that. Okay, you didn't have to call me out in public like that. No. Okay. All right, I'm going to try it again. All right.
On YouTube and everything.
Yeah, I know. Now everybody saw that happen. Thanks, Ann.
Okay, this right here is why people love courtroom live streams. Even judges have human moments. One tiny name mix-up and suddenly the entire courtroom turns into a sitcom episode on YouTube and everything. You can literally hear the embarrassment setting in, but moments like this actually matter. They break the tension in a room where most people are terrified about losing their homes.
Northville Crossing versus James Ingram and Jason Hopper. And they're not here anyway. Really? Anyway, all right. Ms. Dornbush, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's rent to retain of $979.96. Cost of $250 for a total due of $1,229.96. And we'd ask for a default possession only judgment with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount, in the amount requested with the writ to issue in 10 days. Let me see if I get this one. Northville Crossing versus Michael Powers, Jessica Lindow, and Gary Lindow.
Here.
All right, there's Mr. All right. What is plaintiff's claim in this case?
With cost, Your Honor, $2,212.38.
All right. And sir, how are you guys intending on getting that paid?
I can have 500 on Monday, the 18th, and I can have another 1,000 the Friday, the 22nd, and I can have the remaining done the following week.
Okay, so you'll have 500 on the 18th, 1,000 on the 22nd.
Correct.
Can you get that paid early in the day on the 22nd?
I'm sure I'm going to see you, so yes, I will.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to adjourn this to May 22nd, 2026 at 12 noon. Okay, that's an in-person hearing. What I might suggest you do, sir, is in the interim, contact plaintiff's counsel's office, see if you can work out either a consent judgment or conditional order of dismissal. All right?
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good weekend. Court calls the case of Northville Crossing versus Rebecca White.
I'm here.
Hello, Miss White. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. I'll need a camera, please.
I'm trying. I'm sorry. I'm at work. I don't know how this works.
Oh, it's okay. While we're there she is.
See me?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we see you. All right. Ms. Dornbush, what is plaintiff's claim?
With cost, Your Honor, $2,989 even.
So I actually just got this in the mail. I don't know if my son got the service or not before he moved out. So I didn't find out about this until last night. I do have some questions I would like to talk with my landlord about because I was in writ status in January. That was paid off. And then I made an additional $3,000 payment on February 20th. So I should not be this far behind. And I just need to get with her and go over my ledger because to my knowledge, I should only be 1 month at this point.
Yeah.
And that's this month.
Well, Your Honor, if she made a payment in on February 20th.
Somewhere in that region. I don't
Well,
have the ledger in front of me.
I've got the
Okay.
payment here on February 20th, but it's now May, so you'd owe March, April, and May.
That was for February and March that I paid in the end of February. So it should be April. And then, yes, now it is May.
Okay, so the payment that you made for $2,040.42 did give you a little bit of a credit going into March, but it wasn't enough to cover all of
So
March.
Bobby and I had a conversation. There was a large water bill due. My pipes exploded. And she was supposed, when I made the payment, everything went to the water, which they had agreed to a payment arrangement. She was supposed to finagle whatever with that, which is why I need to discuss with her what
Okay.
happens there. Yeah, I mean,
So,
I
Ms.
have no,
White,
I
give
know I'm
me-
behind and I do
No,
plan
that's
on
okay.
paying.
Yep. Give me a call. Obviously talk to Bobby
Yeah.
as well, but then give me a call. The paperwork that told you to appear today lists Matthew Pallets out of Troy. Give me a call at that number. And I'll also touch base with Bobby and see if we can.
Okay. Yeah, I
Okay.
just got back to work after fighting cancer last year and being out of work for over a year. So I'm really playing catch up at this point. It's just.
Now this is where the hearing shifts emotionally. Rebecca White isn't denying she owes money. She's trying to explain the avalanche that got her here. Cancer treatment, missed work, exploding pipes, water bills, confusion over credits. And notice the judge's approach here. Instead of immediately ruling against her, he slows the process down and pushes both sides toward communication. That's a huge theme in housing court. Judges often try to preserve housing first and litigate second.
Taking a little longer than I thought to pull out.
All right. All right. Here's what we'll do. I'll set this for May 22nd, 2026, 12 noon. That's an in-person hearing, but make the contacts that you're going to make, and let's see where we are when we get back next week. Okay.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Whitaker Oaks versus Peyton Johnson.
Not auction.
Johnson is. Peyton Johnson, we have at least some information on him. I'm not sure. Okay, we just have that there was a Friends Indeed referral made on May 7th. I'm not clear what that means entirely. But if you'd like to take a default, you may proceed.
Your Honor, I don't actually have an objection to adjourning it to next week if
Okay.
the court was inclined to do so based on that application.
right.
But I mean, I'll defer to the court on that. I mean, I don't know if the court's treating
No,
that as an
I'll adjourn.
application for tenancy.
I'll adjourn it out.
Okay,
May 22nd, 2026, 12 noon.
thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court does call the case of Scio Farms versus Eric Allen and Brittany Raymond and Mackenzie Earl. Do we have any of them? Allen, Ramon, Earl. No one is present. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Give me one moment. Patty, are you signed in on this here today?
am.
is.
Did you have some agreement with these guys? or
Is
no?
this for Unit 199? I apologize.
It is indeed.
Yes, this is one that there was a numbers mistake on my part with their water read for April. An extra number was added. We have in turn asked to go ahead and dismiss. They only owe for May, which they were waiting for me to be able to get all these fees off. So
Okay, do you want to dismiss or do you want to, I mean, I guess,
Oh,
what do you want to do?
Well-
You want to adjourn it or you want to dismiss it or?
no, let's go ahead and dismiss. They should never
okay.
have been
Got
filed
it.
on. I do apologize, you guys.
Okay, got it.
All
Cool.
right.
Thank you.
Cases.
Did you catch that? The landlord's own representative admitted the case should never have been filed because of a billing mistake. That's a rare courtroom moment. Most viewers assume eviction filings are always airtight, but clerical errors, bad ledger entries, and incorrect utility charges happen more often than people realize. And today, that mistake almost pushed tenants into court for nothing.
Case is dismissed. That's without prejudice.
Oh,
Thank
Patty, I'm
you.
sorry. I did see your email now on that one. We'll
All
dismiss
right.
it.
Scio Farms versus Antoine Bailey. Antoine Bailey, not present. You may proceed.
Your Honor, Mr. Bailey actually made a payment in full this morning through the online portal, but we need to make sure that it clears. So if we could adjourn this one a week.
May 22nd, 2026, 12 noon. Scio Farms versus Rosalind Banks.
He's here.
Banks?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Miss Banks. How are you?
I'm blessed, highly favored, and I live in Scio Farms.
All right. Okay. What is the claim in this case?
With costs, Your Honor, $776.39.
Okay. And Miss Banks, how are you intending on getting that paid?
Well, Your Honor, I received 4 notices, and on the very first one mailed to me, it has a different name on my petition. Demand for possession. It has Anton Bailey and all other occupants with my name. The second one also has my name and Anton Bailey and all other occupants. I have 2 documents from the court, from the management with our names.
Okay, hold on, Miss Banks. The documents that you are holding up, what are they entitled? What's at the top?
At the top, it has the demand for possession. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah, we have non-payment of rent,
Okay, hold on a second.
and it's for Anton Bailey. It's attached to my name, and we have the same docket number.
Are you lot 114?
I am.
Okay, the document I have, which is the demand for possession for non-payment of rent, has just your name and all other occupants. So I don't know.
Your Honor, just to clarify, Ms. Banks, is the demand in your name and there are other documents attached to it in Mr. Bailey's name? Is that what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay, the other documents that are attached to it, what are those documents?
One is, well, I was reading what it is for Anton, and then I was had a sheriff to present the second document. A sheriff
Hey,
presented with Anton's name on it.
Do we have Antoine Bailey? Did I already do it?
You did Anton's already.
Can you give me
His
that
case number was
file?
the one just before, Your Honor, 0714. It's the immediate preceding case.
Anton
Yes.
is at lot 715.
Oh, is it this one? It is. Thank you.
And he owed a lot more money than me.
Okay, all right. Is the number that you have owing 1993.73? Is that what yours shows?
The amount owing, yes.
Okay. And your name, okay, so that document that you're looking at, what's that entitled at the top?
Okay, there's 2, and both say demand for possession. And it does list just the amount that's due, previous balance, total amount.
Yeah, do you see a complaint? Or
from Scio Farms,
Flip the
landlord.
pages forward, Ms. Banks. There looks to be additional pages that have been flipped backwards. What are those documents?
Those are in my name. They're in my name.
okay, so somewhere likely here or
I'm wondering,
someplace,
Your Honor.
you have,
I was just wondering if
Someone-
maybe some extra copies got attached
That's
to her
right.
paperwork.
Okay. So let's do it this way, Ms. Banks. I'm going to end up adjourning it out anyway. Okay, so we'll get all of that straight. But there's 776.39 owing.
It does not say that amount, Your Honor.
Pardon?
It does not say that amount.
I know, but on the complaint that I have in front of me, okay,
Okay.
just so that we're clear, on the complaint that I have in front of me regarding yours, there was 564.82 plus cost.
Okay.
Okay, that was owing. So they've added the cost in, and right now your balance is at 776.39.
Oh, Your Honor, I have lived
Yep.
at Scio Farms for 26 years. I've
Yes, ma'am.
never been late in paying my rent or paying the water sewer bill. And that is what this complaint stems from. A break, supposedly,
Go ahead.
and I addressed it to the manager that I didn't feel that, well, first of all, I never received the bill, Your Honor. I never received this bill for the water bill of $686. As I stated, I've been there for 26 years. I've received a bill for those 26 years. If it didn't, it was because it was late. This is the first time in those 26 years I did not receive a water and sewer bill. I asked the complex to check it out to make sure there was nothing wrong with the meter. I was told just pay the bill, make arrangements. Since then, I've done everything, Judge, that I needed to do. It's not a lack of that I cannot pay my rent. I pay my bills. But I have had a lengthy conversation.
So, ma'am, let me ask you this. Are you
Yeah.
saying you don't owe it? You don't know if you owe it, or you owe it? What are you trying to tell me?
I owe it. I do. I investigated by having plumbers come out and go underneath my unit to see where the water leak was coming from. Was it the fault of the meter, or was it actually a broken pipes? I had a company to come out, and it was a broken pipe.
Okay.
I'm not saying I won't pay the bill. Never said that.
Okay. All right. So what are you telling me right now? What do you want to do?
After 26 years of living there, never being late, I have printouts to show all that. And what I'm saying,
No,
Your
ma'am,
Honor,
Miss Banks, Miss
Okay.
Banks.
I'm getting
Just listen.
okay.
None of this is saying that you're a bad person at all, or that you don't pay your bills. Okay. That is not the point here.
Okay.
What I'm just trying to do when plaintiff comes with a claim, trying to figure out how it can be paid and trying to make sure that people, as best we can, maintain their housing. So I'm just trying to figure out, you say that you owe it. How are you intending on taking care of it? None of this is a reflection on you as a bad person or somebody that's trying to abscond. Don't take it that way.
This exchange with Rosalind Banks is incredibly revealing. She's not really fighting the debt anymore, she's fighting to be understood. 26 years of paying on time, surprise water damage, tree removal expenses, disputed responsibilities. And emotionally, she wants the court to recognize that she's not a deadbeat tenant. Watch how the judge carefully redirects the conversation back to the legal issue. Not whether she's a good person, but how the balance can realistically be resolved. That's courtroom management in real time.
Because that's not what it's about.
I have had work done as far as trees being discarded because the complex would not. I paid over $700 and some, Judge, and I had asked the manager if we could come to some agreement and was told no. I have receipts, and that's what I wanted to do, was to use the monies, my own. The park is responsible for the trees, and that's what I wanted. Let's talk about making arrangements with the payments that I made on removal of those trees. Never, I was told, doesn't matter. So I wanted to come to some conclusion as to the monies I spent on those trees and this money for a broken water pipe.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to adjourn you out to May 22nd, 2026 at 12 noon. That's an in-person hearing. You'll need to come down to the courthouse. In the interim, you can call the plaintiff's attorney's office, see if there's something that can be worked out. If not, then you'll come down here, and at some point I'll try to figure out how we're going to do this. All right, Ms. Banks?
That's fine with me, Judge, Your Honor. May the
All right.
26th. Did you give a time?
At 12 noon.
12 noon.
And Your Honor, if Ms. Banks is not intending to call me to discuss the matter, which I'm open absolutely to having a conversation with her, I would request that she provide whatever documentation she has regarding this alleged tree removal, so that we were prepared to address that as well if this matter is going to go to a hearing on the 22nd.
Okay, you got that, Ms. Banks?
I have all of that.
Okay, but you need to provide it to the other side.
And Your Honor, I'm going to put my email address in the chat if it's easier for Ms. Banks to email it to me, or she can drop off copies to Patty in the office and Patty will get them to me.
I can drop them off in the office.
Thank you, Ms. Banks.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Scio Farms versus Jonathan Barrera. Barrera, they are not checked in. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's rent to retain of $6,059.02, costs of $192 for a total due of $6,251.02. And we'd ask for a default possession only judgment with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff, that's by default for possession, redemption amount, in the amount requested, writ to issue at 10 days. Scio Farms versus Adam Bryant.
He's on the sheet.
Mr. Bryant? You need to unmute, sir. I see you there.
There we go. Yes, sir, I'm here.
There you are. Okay. This one also has a note of a Friends Indeed referral. So is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Have you contacted Friends Indeed?
Yes.
All right.
Hi, my name is Shira. I'm a case manager with Faith in Action, and I'm representing my client, Adam Bryant. Faith in Action has agreed to pay.
Well, okay, hold on.
Sorry,
Please.
go.
Who are you?
My name is Shira. I work with a nonprofit organization called Faith in Action here in Chelsea, and organization.
Yeah, I know. Okay, ma'am, I have to make sure we get you on the record. I'm not trying to interrupt you. I just got to make sure we have. And did you get her name? Shira. Got it. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. It's okay. Go ahead. What were you trying to tell me?
So I am a case manager with Faith in Action, and Faith in Action has agreed to pay the amount on his, $1,015 on his original document to avoid the eviction process. But to my understanding, there was they charged an extra fees and late fees and all of that.
Okay, hold on. Let's do this. What's plaintiff's claim at this point?
With costs, Your Honor, $2,385.75. Looks like the $1,015 is coming from the demand for possession. Your Honor, that's
Correct.
what's indicated on the original demand, as well as what's on the complaint from April.
Okay, so here's what happened. The 1015 was the amount of rent owing as of April. So now what's been included, there are going to be some late fees. but there are also going to be court costs and then May rent. So that's the distinction between the two numbers. You guys got that?
Yeah, I got that. I mean, is there any way to maybe figure out a payment plan? I have
Okay,
also.
hold on,
Okay.
Mr. Bryan. Let me ask you this. So Faith in Action is paying the 1,015, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now my notes indicate you have a referral to Friends Indeed.
Yes.
Have they given you an answer at all regarding any payment or anything?
No, they had reached out to me yesterday, roughly about 1:30, and they needed documentation on like my income and those types of things. And I've sent those things over and explained to them that I had court this morning at 10 a.m. and I have not heard anything back from them. Faith in Action
Okay,
also.
Mr. Bryan.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bryan. Okay, just hold on a minute, okay?
Yes,
All right, slow down. Nothing's gonna happen to you.
okay.
All right. I realize you and your worker were talking fast to me, trying to nothing's gonna happen. All right.
Okay.
I'm trying to get information.
Okay.
And then what's gonna happen, Mr. Bryan, is I'm gonna set a new hearing. I'm gonna try to give, as in terms of time and everything, we need to try to get an answer from Friends Indeed
Okay.
to see what it is. The very fact that they reached out to you but didn't get back to you, you're not going to be penalized by that. Okay?
Okay.
You got the information over to them. They've got to process it and then get the information either to the landlord or to the court or to you,
Okay.
preferably all three. And then we can see where we are and then maybe head forth with a payment plan.
Okay.
That sound good?
Perfect.
All right. Does that relax you a little bit?
I'm still in a panic. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. I
I mean,
got you.
It does make me feel
Well, I
good.
tried.
It does make me feel good to hear that from you, but there's still a sense of panic.
Okay. We'll figure it out. Let's get the 1,015 in. We'll figure out what your balance is, and I'm going to set it for next week. Hopefully, we'll hear Friends Indeed,
Okay.
and then we'll figure out where we can go from there. How's that?
Now the 1,015, I dropped that off on Wednesday. They've already accredited my account. They had also.
Hold on. That was the 1,015 from Faith in Action got dropped off.
Yes, it's already been dropped off. It's already been as far as my.
Hold on. Just, do you have that, Miss Dornbush?
Let me check, Your Honor. There's been a massive amount of payments made in the last, I would say, I don't know, 18 hours or so by tenants at Scio. Patty sent me a slew of updates, so let me just make sure that I know about that one.
Patty's on.
Yes.
Yeah, it was there. It's there.
Yep. So
Okay, so it's been paid, but the number you gave me didn't include it.
that is correct, Your Honor. And so with taking into account that payment, it brings him down to $1,370.75.
Well, there was
13.
also a credit to my account because they had been billing me for a
Month-to-month fees. I see that as well,
also
sir.
accredited that.
Yep.
So
So
I-
$1,290.75 is the amount then, Your
Right.
Honor.
There you go. That's correct.
All right. Okay, we know where we are.
Yes.
Okay. We'll wait to hear from Friends Indeed.
Okay.
I'm going to adjourn it to next week, May 22nd, 2026 at noon. That's an in-person hearing. Okay.
Now that's
All right.
in Saline.
No, that's in Pittsfield Township by the Sheriff's Department off of Washington.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know where that's at, but I'll figure it out.
You'll okay. All right. That's an in-person hearing. Come down and then we'll figure out where we go from there. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
That's fair enough.
I believe so.
All right, Mr. Bryant, I'm gonna give you an order.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to relax over the weekend. Nothing's going to happen. Don't get all worked up about it, because you come in here and get all worked up, then I get worked up and bad things happen. All
We don't
right.
want-
Adam Bryant's hearing might be the most relatable moment in this entire docket. You can literally hear the panic in his voice. And honestly, this is what eviction court sounds like for a lot of people: confusion, overlapping assistance programs, waiting on nonprofits, trying to buy time before the next paycheck hits. But notice how the judge de-escalates the situation. He pauses the entire hearing just to calm the tenant down. That line, "Nothing's going to happen to you," probably lowered the stress level in the room instantly.
We don't want that, sir. We don't want that.
Okay.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
Mr. Bryant, you have a great weekend.
Thank
And
you so
also
much.
to your worker, thank you for your help on this.
Thank you. You have a great weekend as well.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Scio Farms versus Paula Clark and Anthony Clark.
We're here.
Oh,
Good
there
morning.
you are. Good morning. Okay, what is plaintiff's claim?
With costs, Your Honor, $3,566.99.
Okay. Mr. Clark, how are you guys going to get this paid?
So, Judge Simpson, I don't disagree that I owe rent monies, but I filed bankruptcy in October 13th, and I contacted my bankruptcy attorney, and he told me that the monies that I owed prior to bankruptcy, that I should not owe those. But Miss Rachel, I don't want to butcher her last name. I'm gonna call her Miss Rachel.
Okay.
She sent a message to Mr. Dodd, who was my bankruptcy attorney, that they don't feel that I should be credited those monies because my husband is not a leaseholder. My son and I are the leaseholders, but my husband is listed as an occupant on the lease. So I just wanted to find out from the courts, do I get a credit for those monies or do I pay? I have no problem paying. I just need to know.
And Your Honor, if I just may respond, there was a bankruptcy, there was some email correspondence. Under the bankruptcy, Your Honor, there was a lease assumption that would potentially negate any discharge of amounts owed. But additionally, Your Honor, the bankruptcy was filed by Miss Paula Clark and her husband. The lease is with Miss Paula Clark and her son, Anthony. And so to the extent that there would have been amounts that would be discharged to Miss Paula Clark, they still remain due as to Mr. Anthony Clark as the other leaseholder. And so in short,
Here comes a surprisingly complicated legal twist: bankruptcy. A lot of people think filing bankruptcy wipes out every housing debt automatically, but that's not always true. The landlord's attorney explains that because another leaseholder, the son, wasn't discharged the same way, the household can still legally owe the money. This is one of those moments where contract law, bankruptcy law, and landlord-tenant law all collide at once.
that's why there is no adjustment to the ledger.
Okay. That actually makes sense, Miss Clark. Miss Clark, you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. That makes sense. So maybe I'm going to put it a different way. Let's say that you and your husband, for whatever reason, may not owe it. You're still, the lease, the household is still going to owe it because your son's debt, which is joint and several to that, wasn't discharged. That makes sense to you?
No, but
That's
okay.
why they're not giving the credit.
Okay.
That unit is still going to owe the money. It may just be in your son's name, but they may be the same result. All right.
Okay, so we did apply for assistance through DHS. The case is pending, just waiting for the decision on the courts.
Okay, so you applied for an SER.
Yes.
All right. Did you apply for any other type of assistance?
No, sir.
Okay. So just to kind of put it all in context for you, how many people are in your household?
My son, me, my husband, our daughter, and his two sons.
So is that 5 or 6? That's 6.
6.
You know, that worried when I asked you if it was 5 or 6, that worried me that you had to look up and think about it, Miss Clark, but that's all right. Okay. All right. So that you know, an SER, they typically, if you get it, they don't pay everything. So the most you get would be about 1,040 from that SER.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So there's a form that's in your packet called a rental assistance form. You'll need to fill that out and make sure that the tracking number that for your SER is on there and get that to the court by next Wednesday. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjourn your case out to May 22nd, 2026 at 12 noon. That's an in-person hearing, so we'll need to see you down at the courthouse, okay?
Okay. I mean, I do have 2,000.
Okay, that was my next question. My next question is, what can you're just trying to get ahead of me, Miss Clark. That's okay. How much can you pay between now and then?
I have 2,000. I just have to go to the bank and get a cashier's check.
All right.
And I can drop it off.
What I'll indicate is you'll pay that by Tuesday, the 19th. Okay?
Okay.
And then what we'll do is hopefully maybe we'll have an answer from the SER, maybe not. But then we'll see you down here next week and we'll figure out how we're going to handle the rest. How's that sound?
That's fine. I'm sure I can come up with it.
Okay. All right. All right, Miss Clark.
So what, next Friday at what time?
At 12 noon.
In person.
In person. I look forward to meeting you.
No problem. Thank you, Judge Simpson.
All right. Thank you. You have a great weekend.
You have a blessed day.
Yes, ma'am. Scio Farms versus Melanie Clemens.
Oh.
Oh, there she is. All right, Miss Clemens, can you hear me?
Hello. Yep. Good to see you.
Okay.
Maybe.
See you. All right. All right. What is plaintiff's claim in this case?
With us, Your Honor, excuse me, $2,154.19.
All right. Ms. Clemens, how are you intending on getting this paid?
I have a check here from Selection for
Hold on, break it up.
$981.23.
I'm getting an echo from you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? I have a
I
check
can hear you. Let's
981.23.
Hang on. Shut down our video real quick and let's see if I get a better bandwidth. All right, Ms. Clemens, we turned off your video. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I have a check for $981.23 from Faith in Action. I can repay the remaining balance on the 23rd.
Okay. Give me the numbers on that check again.
981.23.
981.23. And so you're going to get that to the landlord by when?
Today.
Today. All right, good enough. Get that to them. And then you're going to have the other amount on the 23rd, you think?
Yes. Actually, I will probably have it on the 22nd, but I don't know what time it'll post, but I can pay it on the portal on the 22nd, really.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Is I'm going to adjourn it to the 22nd. That's what I can do. 2026 at 12 noon.
Well, no.
Try to get that payment in. That's an in-person hearing, but try to get
Okay.
that payment in. If you can get it in before noon, that would be great.
Alrighty.
Okay?
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. That's an in-person hearing. All right, Ms. Clemens, you take care. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Scio Farms versus John Prode and Adriana Williams. Ms. Williams?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. I'm going to need you trying to put on your cam. There you are. Okay. What is plaintiff's claim?
With costs, Your Honor, actually, the total due, it looks like Mr. Crowe and Ms. Williams just made substantial payments on the account. The remaining balance is $206 even.
Okay. All right, Ms. Crone. When are you going to pay this? No, I'm kidding. All right. Ms. Crone, when do you think you can get that clear?
I'll have it done by next Friday. I get paid on Friday, so I'll have that cleared up.
Okay.
And
So
Your
here's-
Honor, just to clarify, I lied a little bit, not intentionally, but
Okay.
it's 206.96, not 206 even.
Okay.
Can't forget the 96 cents.
Okay, so it's about 207. Is that going to cause you'll still have that?
Yeah, I can have it.
All right. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll adjourn it out to the 22nd, 2026 at 12 noon. That's an in-person hearing. However, Ms. Williams, I don't need to see you that day. If you get it paid and everything's all set, you're good. You don't need to come down unless you just want to see me.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Scio Farms versus Lauren Eccles. Where is she? There you are, Miss Eccles. Hello.
Hello.
All right. What is the claim?
With costs, Your Honor, $2,400.68.
2-4, okay, 68. All right, Ms. Eccles, how are we going to get this paid?
I'm gonna take a money order today for 500. I'm gonna take another 500.
Hold on. You broke up there for a moment. I got money order for
500 today,
okay.
and then another 500 on the 22nd.
Okay, you
then-
said another 500 by when?
The 22nd.
Whoa. Did she say 22nd? All right. We had somebody hear it now. All right. So that'd be 1,000. And then how are you going to get the rest of it paid? Do you know?
The rest can be paid by the 29th.
Okay. Glad you're catching.
I think
All
she
right.
said the 29th, Your Honor, but I.
Well, we thought the
Yeah.
28th.
Oh.
You heard 29? You heard 28.
29.
All right. It'll be somewhere around then. All right. Okay. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to adjourn this out to the 22nd, 2026 at 12 noon. Okay. And so get those payments in. I'm going to suggest maybe that you contact Miss Dornbush, see if you guys can work something out. But that's an in-person hearing on that date, so we'll need to see you down at the courthouse, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scio Farms versus Arkeem Kirk and LaFlora Jackson. Kirk, Jackson, they're not here. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. There is rent to retain of $1,064.26. Costs are $233 for a total of $1,297.26. We'd ask for a default possession only judgment with a writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff by default for possession, redemption amount in the amount requested, writ issue in 10 days. Scio Farms versus Kyle Crow. Kyle's not here, but it looks like I have, oh, no, there's Kyle.
Yes.
How's it? Tyler?
There's two cases,
That's
Your Honor,
next-
one
it's
for
okay, there's two
Kyle and one
different-
for
okay.
Tyler.
I gotcha. All right. So Kyle's here. What is the claim on this case?
Your Honor, Mr. Kroll just made an $1,100 payment. It brought his balance down to $1,263.77.
All right. And Mr. Kyle Crow, when are you going to get that paid, sir?
I should be able to have that paid here in about 2 weeks, but the paperwork that I have here says $1,075 or $74,045.
Right.
So
And
I think
that's so
the balance May's rent.
hold on a second. That's going to be through April and also does not include court costs.
Okay.
You follow that?
Yes.
All right. So why don't we do this? You need another 2 weeks. You need another check, basically, right? Is that what's happening?
Yes.
All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna adjourn this out to the 22nd, 2026 at 12 noon. What I'm gonna suggest you do is contact the plaintiff's counsel's office, contact Ms. Dornbush, see what you guys can work out, either in a conditional dismissal or consent judgment. Get you the time so that you can get this paid, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Court calls the case, People versus Tyler Crawl. Well, hello, Tyler. Oh, you're muted. He's working on it. Can you get yourself unmuted, Tyler? No? Okay. You got somebody there that can help you? Well, that was the camera. No, I don't. I think he's still there. Well, let me pass that one briefly. He's going to get somebody to help him, I'm sure. Scio Farms versus Shane Meyer and Jordan Marshall.
Jordan's here, Your Honor. Looks like. But
Yeah,
maybe Shane
I do
Yes,
see it.
Your Honor.
All right, there you are. Thank you. All right. And what's owing on this one?
With cost, Your Honor, $2,404.46.
All right. Marshall, how are you intending on getting that paid?
I believe that's not noted as I did make a payment of $500. I do plan on discussing payment with my roommate who is not here at the moment.
Okay.
We've
So
just
you
been
paid,
having
hang on.
Yes, sir.
You paid 500. When did you do that?
Earlier this week, I believe Wednesday.
Patty, are you seeing a $500 payment? I don't know if I missed that update from you. Our ledger does not reflect a $500 payment, though.
It's loading. Hang on. Yes, I do apologize. On the 13th, he did pay $500. Total
Got
owing
it.
is $1914.46.
1914.46. Okay. All right. And then you're not sure how you're going to get this all paid off at this point because you got to talk to somebody else, right?
Yep, not at the moment, Your Honor. We've been going through a rough patch, but I plan to get it all figured out.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do. All right. Well, two things. I'm going to adjourn you out to the 22nd, 2026 at 12 noon. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then, is there any further amount you can get paid next week on this?
I get paid personally on the 22nd. I don't know how much I get paid, but I'll be putting my paycheck towards that as well.
All right.
And like I said, with my roommate, I will be discussing with him what he can pay as well.
All right. Very good. Okay. So I'll just indicate that you're going to pay something by the 22nd. We're not sure what it is because you don't know what your check is, right?
Yes, sir.
So we'll do that. This is an in-person hearing, so I'll need you to come down to the courthouse. In the interim, you feel free to contact Ms. Dornbush and see if you can work something out regarding the payment of all of this, particularly after you talk to your roommate and what they're going to contribute. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Court calls the case of Scio Farms versus Sabina Newsom. Sabina Newsom? All right. Don't have it. You may proceed.
Your Honor, actually, there was a payment made today via the portal. So if we could adjourn this for a week to see if it clears.
All right. May 22nd, 2026, 12 noon. Scio Farms versus Amanda Ridley. I'm sorry. Amanda Ridley. Oh, there she is. Okay. Can you unmute? There you go. Miss Ridley, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. I couldn't hear you for a moment. All right, how much is owing?
With costs, Your Honor, looks like Ms. Ridley just made a $600 payment. So we're looking at $931.31.
$931.31. All right. So Miss Ridley,
Yeah.
how are you going to get the rest of that paid?
I get paid in 2 weeks, and I will have it all paid in full by the 26th.
Okay, let's do this. I'm going to set this out 1 week to the 22nd, 2026 at 12 noon. That's an in-person hearing. What I'm going to suggest you do is contact Ms. Dornbush, see if you can work something out to kind of get yourself through that date, okay? That you can get paid.
Yeah,
Fair enough?
fair enough. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Scio Farms versus Shannon Rousseau. Shannon Rousseau, not present. You may proceed.
Your Honor, if we could adjourn this one for a week as well. There's been a payment, but we need to verify it's cleared.
Got it. May 22nd, 2026, 12 noon. Scio Farms versus Derek Wanson. Yeah. And Elizabeth Wanson. Neither party's here. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. There is rent to retain of $1,116.21, cost of $233 for a total due of $1,349.21. We'd ask for a default possession only judgment with writ to issue after 10 days.
Judgment to the plaintiff, that is by default for possession. Redemption amount is in the amount requested. Writ to issue in 10 days. Scio Farms versus Rachel Young, Ross Fortner, and Denise Fortner.
Your Honor, in this case, there was a payment, but it was via certified funds, and so we'd like to dismiss this matter.
Dismiss? All right. Case is dismissed. That's without prejudice. And let's see, Tyler Kroll. See if he worked out his. Oh, he did. I think he did. Oh, no. Oh, there it goes.
Hey.
We got you. All right. I had faith you'd work it out. All right.
Yeah, I had help.
Okay, that's good. All right. What is the claim in this case?
With costs, Your Honor, $4,413.01.
All right. Mr. Kroll, how are you going to get that paid?
So I have I basically gotta wait for another check.
Say that again?
I gotta wait 2 weeks. I gotta wait for another check.
And in 2 weeks, you think you'll be able to do what?
I have $1,600 now I can pay, and in 2 weeks I'll be
Okay.
able to pay the rest.
All right. So you got $1,600 that you can pay. Can you get that to the landlord by Monday?
I can do it today, yes.
All right. Today. All right. Even
sir.
better. All right. Get that over to them today. That's obviously going to lower your balance. I can adjourn this out 1 week to the 22nd, 2026 at noon. That's an in-person hearing. In the interim, if you're looking at working out, do you think on the 26th you're going to be able to pay the whole thing off?
I can look into some things. I should be able to.
Okay.
I can ask for some help. Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this. I'll adjourn it out to that date, pay the $1,600, and then contact Ms. Dornbush at the attorney's office and
Okay.
see if you guys can work out an agreement to get this paid. All right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, and we'll see you next week. That's an in-person hearing, so you got to come down to the courthouse.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kroll.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You do the same. And I think that's it.
That is
That's all
it, Your Honor. Although there was a dismissal, and I don't know if Your Honor was going to call it for Scio Farms versus Robert English. I was chatting with him and I let him know the case was dismissed. He indicated he still wished to speak with Your Honor. I had assumed you were going to read off the dismissals as you normally do, but this may have been one that was submitted early enough that it was already entered.
Yeah, I think it was submitted early enough. It came off the docket.
Understood, Your Honor. Mr. English, my apologies for the confusion. The judge actually is not reading that one off. And since there's no case scheduled for today, I don't know that there's going to be an opportunity for you to speak with the judge. But if you have any questions or concerns, you can certainly reach out to my office and see if we can resolve it.
He left.
He's still here, Judge. He's just muted.
All right. Well, let's see. I got a few minutes
I've
here.
got the
Let's
case
see.
number if you need it, Your Honor.
Yeah, if you would.
Yep, it's 264C 0725 LT.
0725 LT. All right. Mr. English? You'll need to unmute.
I'm on.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no, not a problem. All right. Your case, I had already taken it off the docket, but you're here. Ms. Dornbush indicated you wanted to say something to me?
Yeah, because I'm just not understanding how I owe that money when no one told me when I went in there to pay it, and I paid them. So how do I owe them money that I paid already when no one explained to me that it was a court cost or anything? I also went in there and signed a new lease paper.
And this final exchange perfectly captures why so many tenants leave court frustrated. Robert English thought he had fully paid what he owed, but court costs and late fees kept accumulating behind the scenes. Legally, the judge is correct. Once a case is filed, those filing costs usually become part of the debt automatically. But emotionally, you can tell the tenant feels blindsided. It's a reminder that in eviction court, paying rent late can snowball fast even after you think the problem is solved.
The same day I paid it, on the 17th, and until I had them corrected, they had me on a month-to-month lease. When I had to show them the paperwork that I wasn't. But my thing is that you took my payment on the 17th with no one explaining to me why I was signing these papers that I owed more or anything. And
okay, hold on. Owed more than what, Mr. English?
Then my lot rent was because of court costs and fines. They never told me that when I went in there to pay.
All right, your lease, first thing is, in any case that's filed, they're gonna be entitled to their court cost, okay? That's gonna happen. Your late fees should be really spelled out in any leasing agreement or by management as to when you would catch a late fee. So they don't need to really tell you that. If your case had proceeded through, I would have told you, quite frankly, that you owed the court cost.
All right.
Okay. I hope that answers your question.
No problem.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. All right. Thank you for that one, Ms. Dornbush. All right.
All right.
It's okay. No,
I always leave it up to a tenant if they want to stay. I never tell them they have to go. Just,
No, I got it.
Normally
Some people just want to talk to me. All right.
All right. We'll see you this afternoon, Your Honor. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Patty. All right.
Not a
Thank
problem.
you. Thank you, friend of the court. Do appreciate you being here. Court stands in recess.
Anytime, Judge.
All righty.
What makes this entire session fascinating is how different every case feels, even though they're all technically about the same thing, unpaid rent. Some tenants never show up and lose instantly. Others come prepared with payment plans, assistance applications, or emotional explanations that completely change the tone of the hearing. And throughout all of it, the judge is balancing two competing realities at once, enforcing contracts while trying to prevent people from losing their housing. That tension is what makes eviction court so unpredictable.